Good morning and afternoon. Welcome back to the breakfast stream with myself and my co-host, who's always on time. Jose, how are you today?
Pretty good, Neil. How about yourself? Hopefully, I'm not muted. Nope, I'm not. I'm doing good.
No amateur hour today.
Not today.
First of all, good morning to everyone. Good afternoon to everyone joining. Really appreciate you all joining us again on this beautiful, what is it? Tuesday.
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Neil, sorry. Gonna send you a quick message. Sorry.
Yeah, so we have a couple of things we want to discuss. Well, I got the email, so I guess they did.
Oh, okay. All right.
But
I didn't know if it was public.
But I think the major announcement is in an hour or 2 or 3 or something like that. But okay.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
So yeah, we have a couple of things we want to discuss. Yesterday, AMD soared 9% or so. We've had actually a green market across the board, which I'll happily share. I'll happily share this right now. This was basically it yesterday, right? Pretty good. I mean, Oracle was down, but then again, Oracle was also up 8%, I think, on Friday when everything else was down.
Yeah, it was up crazy both Thursday and Friday, because I think it reported Wednesday, right, Neil? So I think Wednesday and Friday was up both high single digits. So a 2% pullback's nothing.
Yeah, no. So yesterday was a pretty good day. I think today, at the time of talking in Europe, I believe markets are red. In Asia, they are red as well, although in Japan it's green. And pre-market in the United States, we are red as well, 0.4, 0.5% negative. But then again, I mean, yesterday we were pretty green, so I'm not that surprised. Oil prices right now are up 2%, but that's about it. So yeah, yesterday AMD was up. Were you surprised or not?
I was surprised it was up that much, Neil. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes the market doesn't get this stock too much, and then it's surprising when it finally wakes up a little bit here. Obviously, after a nice pull up, there can always be somewhat of a pull down, but I'm pretty excited. I know you're going to pull up your technical magic here, but there were a lot of there's some rumors that kind of happened last night or yesterday, Neil, that kind of also helped drive some of this stock momentum. I don't know if you saw
Such as.
the Amazon rumors. So that started to reappear. So over the weekend and on Monday, I believe on CNBC, there was some discussion that AWS is actually the new customer of AMD's MI350 series lineup. Something that I don't know why wouldn't be discussed during the AI event. I don't know if there's some secret meeting happening, but that's the rumor floating around. And something I think we've talked about in the past, right? That if there was somebody, it would be them. Semi-analysis also did a report. Neil, I don't know if you had time to read that semi-analysis report about AMD, but in their free side, just in the intro, they talk about it as well. They mention AWS as a new customer of AMD.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it. Remember in the preview, and I said that look, AWS is the first sponsor that is mentioned, and I think that was also in the report yesterday, right?
Hmm.
AWS was a major sponsor of that event, so maybe that's an indication
Hmm.
that they might be that new big customer. But I think that's just for now
Yeah.
rumor speculation. Of course, yesterday we also had that Piper Sandler positive note, price target upgrade to around $140 or so,
Hmm.
so that helped it. And maybe yeah, maybe just the market just needed a day or two or the weekend to actually digest everything that was mentioned during that
Yeah.
advancing AI event we've had. Of course, did we talk about this only in private, or did I share this publicly yesterday? The Oracle part with
We
the
kind of talked about it, Neo. And I also, I mean, well, I don't like the word with up to, right? It says that it's and during they talk about it as well in the presentation. They talked about it that it can support up to. They never promised that they're going to, but it's just they have the optionality. So obviously the optionality is nice. But I'm curious if we're actually gonna see it. Two different things. I don't know if my mind is just trying to
I mean,
play devil's advocate here.
yeah, I mean this comes from Oracle's press
Hmm.
release, not even
Yeah.
AMD's. But yeah, when I saw this, I then had to check something else because energy wise, you would need energy that could support, what was it? I think I saw 375,000 homes or something like that to support a Zeta scale
Hmm.
cluster. So it's not something that will happen overnight. Again, with all of these huge AI infrastructures built out, you will probably need to expand your energy uh, capacity quite significantly. We
Good.
know there's a lot of red tape and bureaucracy, so we'll see how fast they can move forward. But I mean, all in all, I'm surprised it went up 9%. I'm not surprised the stock is moving.
Yeah. Yeah. Agree, Neil. And yeah, I mean, Amazon customer rumors. Um, I think we even started discussing it when we saw kind of that not the CT, but when Amazon had some shares of AMD. I'm pretty sure we both did videos on that in the past. So yeah, I mean, I think the rumors are becoming a little bit more true. But I just don't get it why these companies just don't give us the customer names, why they have to be hidden. For example, like CoreWeave with Google, it's starting to get a little bit annoying. Or like Broadcom or Marvell when they can't say who are the cloud service providers that they're providing the chips for. It's just so annoying, I think, sometimes in this space where it's like, I'm investing in you. You need to tell me what's going on because if not, what's the secret? Why can't you just tell me everything?
I guess they are scared maybe of the competition or some deals not. I mean, if the deal is signed, then the deal is signed. But
Yeah, and I
yeah,
feel like competitors know. Like if let's say Marvell signs something, I think Broadcom has people that will find out really quickly. It's like they have people in that team that would be able to find out who they shifted to. I don't. Yeah, but still, it's annoying. It's annoying that sometimes we have to play this guessing game to see who gets it.
yeah. I mean, it is interesting. It's interesting why this happens. Are people still are those companies so insecure that they don't want to say what's going on, or maybe there are just too many options out there, so one doesn't want to lock in the deal. Maybe they're talking with someone else, they don't want to lose that deal, like with Google and Scale AI, for
Yeah.
example, right? Scale AI goes to Meta, Google doesn't pay them 200 million, and maybe that's one of the reasons. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Neo Fandango, just similar to your thoughts, right, Neo? Maybe deal poaching, but I mean, like with Broadcom, we know they have TPUs for like the past 6, 7 generation, and I don't think they have yet to say Google as kind of like their customer of one of. They say one of the major hyperscalers. I don't think after doing so many generations, you can do deal poaching. So maybe I agree in like the beginning aspects, Evil Fandango, right? Maybe in the beginning it could be some form of deal poaching, but I think after you've done multiple generations of chips for them, I think it's okay to share, because I think the whole world knows. But it's just great to get kind of that final confirmation from the company itself.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Um, let's see. I wanted to show something else, but it disappeared. Lovely stuff. Lovely stuff. Um, SMCI works with every chip supplier.
I
SMCI
think
only.
most
Yeah.
players,
Yeah.
most like Dell,
Most of.
HPE, I don't think, yeah, I don't think there's anyone who wouldn't work with everybody.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree.
And
And
so
then
rude. I don't know if I said good morning to the people. Good morning, Sorg, Joseph. Good afternoon, not the worst. And good morning to everybody else. Appreciate you guys and gals joining us for another breakfast stream hour with Neil and I. So thank you for joining us.
there was, what is it? So AMD was that. I wanted to talk a little bit advanced money doubler.
I like that. I like that energy.
Advanced money doubler is definitely better than advanced money destroyer. That's for sure.
Yeah. David Nettles was wondering, could the jump be because of AMD buying back their own stock? AMD did increase their buyback, right? I forgot. I
Yeah,
know there
they
were a lot of
increased it by 6
semiconductor
billion,
by
but
6 billion.
since then, yeah, we don't know if they actually bought back.
Yeah. I mean, it could be a mixture of everything, right? It could be a little bit of all these tailwinds, right, David? It could, maybe they might did a little bit of buyback. Maybe you see some big investor coming in. Maybe you just see the overall market enjoying it. We also saw that Piper Sandler did increase kind of their price target, so you did get kind of that positive momentum. I think it was from 125 to 140. I forget what was the price hike, but something around there.
Mhm.
So sometimes it's just a mixture of all small storms make a perfect hurricane to drive some of these sentiments up.
Huh. All storms make a perfect hurricane. Not bad.
Came up with that on the spot, Neil. That's what you get here. Sometimes you get some good ones. Sometimes you get, well, a lot of times you get some bad ones.
Are you making T-shirts out of those? Um, Anything else that caught your attention? Because I saw you did a video yesterday talking about, I think, Micron and some other players.
Yeah, so I mean, I think we did similar topics yesterday, Neil, in our videos. We did both AMD. Then Meta Platforms was the other thing we both talked about, it seemed. And with Micron, the only thing I was just looking is I hadn't talked about Micron in the past, Neil. So I was just kind of doing a recatch up of what happened in the past 7 days, which was a lot. So just a really quick recap. They announced that they're shipping HBM4 to their key customers, which is really great, right? You want to continue to see this innovation happening in the HBM market. You saw that they are um, a key customer of HBM for the MI350 series. So you see that being one of the key customers there. So for the 3 series, they're using their HBM 3E, 36 gigs, 12i, I believe it was. And then the other final news is to happen on Friday afternoon is that they were investing a lot more money here in the United States, and they were expanding and building a new leading edge fab. So more to, it seems like they want to build HBM here in the United States. So that's actually very, very bullish. And it kind of goes with this whole aspect of wanting to build AI supercomputers and advanced chips here in the United States. So if that happens, it's pretty good. But we've seen some reports, right, that some of their build outs have been behind red tape for a long time. So they gave a few states, I think it was Virginia, Idaho, and New York. So those were the 3 updates. And just I really did enjoy the HBM4 update though. That came out about a week ago. I think we briefly talked about it. Um, but yeah, and I just want to give a shout out to Tuco. Appreciate it, Tuco, taking one for the team. So Tuco, real reason AMD is up because I sold my position. You are welcome. Thank you, thank you. I appreciate the struggle you took for, or the hit you took for the team.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. It's about time. It's about time. And the more we go above that $120, the safer our bet will be, and the closer we will be to our extra member of of the channel towards the end of this year. Let's see. There was wait. Um, there was here a thing about PayPal that I wanted to touch on because PayPal is definitely making some moves more recently. So I'll just first go over a couple of announcements from the CEO, Alex Chris, which we can see right here. And we are live on X as well, by the way, for those that are joining us from
We're
other
all over.
channels. We are all over the internet. Well, not all over the internet just yet, just YouTube and X for now. We might expand. So PayPal is, of course, right now, PayPal is still, I think, in the 70s, trading at what, $72, $71 or so. But we've had an announcement more recently. So PayPal storefront ads now bring nearly any merchant storefront directly into advertisement. So this is on the Verge, and at the top here, you are seeing basically a PayPal ad, but one where you can just directly buy with PayPal. To me, the PayPal advertising business is going to be a pretty big one. It's one where I think the market is pricing in $0 right now. It's also not baked into PayPal's guidance because it still is um, way too early to say. But the guy that is responsible for PayPal's ads business has done tremendously well at Uber, has done tremendously well at Amazon. I mean, Uber is now at $1.5 billion ARR and growing 60%. And I do think that advertising for a business like PayPal can become much bigger because you're basically dealing here with payments and e-commerce all over the internet. So that should be a business that would generate billions of dollars for PayPal in the future. And those billions of dollars are, of course, high margin dollars, which can also drive more volume. So it's really a nice flywheel, whether it's through PayPal or through Venmo. I think both of them will happen, and this is still early days, of course, but I do think that this could be a huge thing for PayPal in the future. They are still making waves when it comes to their own stablecoin. Of course, with Circle now public, stablecoins are definitely getting more and more attention. More recently, they've had, of course, that partnership with Perplexity when it comes to agentic AI, and now they also have that partnership with Selfbook, which basically lets you book, I think, hotels and stuff like that through Venmo, through the PayPal app. This is something that I think I don't think you have access to Revolut in the US. I don't think so. On Revolut, it's basically you can also book hotels in the app, so it can become that one-stop shop if you want to, but there's still no agentic AI or anything like that. With this, I think, yeah, PayPal is definitely moving into the direction of being a one-stop shop, whether it's through the PayPal app or for the younger generation through Venmo as well, whether it's to send money, save, spend, get rewards, book hotels, trips, you name it. I think they're making the right moves. There was also an article that came out, a conversation basically from the Wall Street Journal.
And, yeah, never mind. I have a question after this, Neil.
Okay. Um, so what's behind PayPal's Will Ferrell ads? Talked here with the CMO of PayPal. Basically, PayPal, facing competition, aims to stay relevant by encouraging consumers to use its services for flexibility and rewards. And this is very important, because they basically admit it right here. So what is the business problem that you've been tasked with solving at PayPal? And this is why we had that sentiment around PayPal, that who uses PayPal anymore these days? And they basically admit it right here. The challenge is to make the brand relevant for consumer. Why is the consumer going to choose PayPal when they're faced with a plethora of choices? So basically they ask the question, why would they choose PayPal? So PayPal effectively is the one-stop shop for whatever you want. However you choose to pay, we have that. You don't need to go and have like 17 different apps on your phone, because every way that you may want to choose to pay, we have that available for you. And increasingly we are leveraging, we are layering on a rewards element. That means whichever way you choose to pay with PayPal, you'll be rewarded for that. So they're definitely making sure that the app PayPal, the word PayPal, is not getting forgotten, right? It stays at the top of your mind whenever you're going to spend or save or, I don't know, interact, send money to people. I think they're doing the right thing. Previously, of course, PayPal was popular because it was one of the only ones. It was that early adopter, let's say, of online payments and whatnot. Everybody knew about it, but I do think that, especially with the previous management, it was just that old system. Okay, pay with PayPal, but that's about it. Nobody really knew that they probably had an app and you can do lots of things with the app. Of course, in the US, you had Venmo, which PayPal owns, which is great. Um, but now they're definitely pushing quite aggressively to make sure that PayPal and Venmo, which they see it as two different things, um, which they actually tell us right here. So how are the PayPal and Venmo brands different? So they position PayPal very much to serve the 30 to 40-year-old young families just beginning to settle down and looking for that sense of stability and confidence that you need to know where every dollar is going, because you've got responsibilities now. Venmo is very much for a mobile first, younger, potential, slightly more affluent audience. So they clearly know that they have two different products, although both of them are owned by PayPal, but they're positioning those two products very, very differently and specifically to address those, well, addressable markets, core demographics, let's say. And I think they're doing quite well with that. The results here of the advertising campaign, they saw great results for the first iteration of the PayPal Everywhere campaign last year. They've seen like 50% growth in total payment volume on Pay with Venmo in Q1, and they've seen nearly 40% growth in Venmo debit monthly active users. So definitely gaining quite a lot of traction. And the more people actually engage with PayPal, the app or the ecosystem or Venmo, the more I think they'll notice that, oh, actually, there is quite a lot of value there. It's not just, oh, pay with PayPal and that's about it. No, you can save, you can get rewards, you can shop with your favorite, I don't know, merchants or whatnot, and you don't need anything else. Can't become that one-stop shop, that super app that we've been maybe talking about, the things that you see in China and Asia with WeChat, for example.
That's I can definitely see it, Neil, going into that direction of creating this super chat. I do have a question with that ad that you kind of showed first of them integrating ads into their platform, that we saw on X. Is that like a consumer um, paying ads to PayPal? And is it ads on their own platform, or is it ads on some other platform that then they go and like, how does that work exactly? Because right, Insider is not I guess part of PayPal, or PayPal owns it. So does like a consumer who wants to sell, or let's say a e-commerce player who wants to sell, they go to PayPal and say, hey, look, advertise this item, and then PayPal does the rest?
Yeah, correct. This is
Okay.
basically ad placements on Business Insider, and then the storefront ad turns recommended products into buy now opportunities right within the ad itself. So if you like what you're seeing, you can directly say, okay, buy with PayPal, and you're basically done. Right? It's not like the traditional ads where you see something pop up, you have to click on it, go to the website,
Yeah.
and start the journey. Here it is quite direct, and of course, since PayPal does have a lot of data, um, they can target that way easily, way
Yeah.
easier.
Okay. And do you know what platform they might use? Do they talk about who they use for like the middleman of the ads?
Not yet, but it wouldn't surprise me if it can be through the trade desk, for
The
example,
trade desk,
or yeah.
probably. Yeah. Or the other one. I forget the other one.
Yeah, but I
Um,
don't know. I don't know, to be honest. But they're doing quite a lot of things in house because, well, they have that ad
yeah.
department now. They've got the guy from Uber and Amazon ads. They've got, I think, the most amount of data from the two-sided ecosystem, right? The buyer and the
Mhm.
merchant. So they can do quite a lot with that. But I don't know who they're using to be placing
Yeah.
those ads right
And
here.
did they mention how effective those ads are? I personally don't know if I would from right off the ad, I would just hit like buy right now. Unless it's a product that was like really, really had research 100%. But to be able to just buy it off the first ad is not something that I would find appealing. So I wonder how. I mean, if they're releasing it, there has to be some net gain coming in, obviously, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean,
But
it is pretty new, so
mhm,
the results I think we'll only probably see only in the next investor day or analyst day, which will be for 2026, because this literally just came out. But remember, the big aspect here is that you have your own profile on PayPal, which means that when you decide to buy something through some of these ads, for example, it is supposed to know your size already. So, for
mhm,
example, if you're a size 10 or 11, when you click on buy with PayPal, it will automatically select that size. Same with clothes, same with other things, because you have your buyer profile in PayPal automatically, which is also a more effective way to advertise and sell you things without you losing time. Of course, if you want to buy some things for someone else, you can probably change it. But if it's just for you, the point is for it to be very, very personalized to your shopping experience.
thank you for that, Neo. We have David Knight here saying it's pronounced Pain Pow. Um,
Yes.
for sure, for sure. Let's see. We have some other questions. AMD is doing really nice right now. I
Pre-market
don't know if
still?
you. Yeah, it's up about like 2% pre-market.
I
Um,
think it's because we are talking.
Probably.
Think it's
It has
because.
to be. It has to be. There's no other reason. But yeah, AMD is getting up a nice amount. Maybe what might be happening also, I haven't seen, but usually you also get after events like this, and once one analyst writes something good, you start to see maybe like a train of analysts start following that sentiment of bullishness for AMD. Um, you know what, Neil? Still, I think after the event, I was pretty excited about the MI 350. The more I think about it, I'm still excited, but maybe not as excited about it. I'm more excited. I think the MI 400 has to really, really deliver with all the promises. Um,
Yeah, I think it's
oh,
still going up because of that AWS rumor.
yeah,
I think on CNBC it was mentioned again. So I guess where there is smoke, there is fire. But I mean, if it is like a multi-billion-dollar deal, I can
yeah,
see this going even higher.
yeah. Um, I can't wait to hear earnings. Hopefully, we get maybe some thoughts on guidance, even if they tell us instead of not giving us an actual number, Neil, but they say maybe we see at least over $10 billion of revenue, right? Not giving us an exact number, but giving
For
us at
AI,
least
yeah.
for AI, giving us like a baseline of something they're seeing, even something like at least 8 billion. I think because AMD likes to undercut a lot, so I can add a few billies to that, uh,
Hmm.
and will be great. Um, I have this
Yeah, no.
question here from. Go ahead, Neil. Before I take the question.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, I mean, I thought it would only come in Q3, like not the upcoming, but the one after that. But if they are
Mhm.
really that confident and if there is that deal with Amazon, then I guess Q2 earnings call
Yeah.
um, could be exactly when they say it, because it's going to be asked again, right? Last quarter
Mhm.
it was asked. They basically dodged the question time and time again.
Mhm.
But this time, I really hope they do have an answer. But yeah, I don't. It is quite weird, right? You have that AI advancing AI event, and a week later we have those rumors about AWS. And imagine if those rumors are true. Like, why not announce it during that event? It's
Yeah,
quite
that's the only
strange.
thing. Oh, yeah, the only thing I'm trying to think is does AWS have an actual event coming up pretty soon? that maybe they wanted to save some of those announcements for then. But I don't think they have AWS their AWS Connect or Center until like December. So I think that's still too far
Yeah.
away. The other thing is maybe Neo, they might just be making small orders right now to do like a testing, and they want to test out the MI350, and until they get that true confirmation that because the last thing you want to do is like Amazon ordered some chips, but if it was just a testing and then Amazon decides not to buy anymore, then that would be pretty bearish. So I wonder if maybe they're just waiting for true confirmation on Amazon after they finish testing out some of those chips and seeing if they enjoy it or not.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume that these things were already done right before
Mhm.
before rumors came out.
Yeah.
But okay, you wanted to say something before, or
Oh yeah, Martin here. I'm curious when Nvidia will get an outbreak towards the 200. Yeah, I feel like this past year for Nvidia was a year where it was catching up to some of its metrics valuations. Like I think price to sales ratio was like in the high 40s, even when looking at forwards, and it has kind of pulled back to like I think even lower than 20s. So I think, I mean, hindsight is 2020, but I think this
Hmm.
past year was more of just like Nvidia catching up to reasonable metrics all over the front. Because if you looked at PE ratios, especially forward, look pretty great for Nvidia. I think now that all these other metrics as well are looking pretty normalized compared to where they were before this AI boom. I think we're gonna get ready for Nvidia to start to see again multiple expansions as we're seeing multiple metric expansions as we see more bullish news come out. Then obviously, I think anything dealing with the Chinese market, if we get any major announcements that we can sell maybe the B20, the B30, or the B40, whatever it's called, to China, I think that could be a massive opportunity. As we do know what that's a Jensen mentioned a $50 billion market of for Nvidia. Now, assume you give that $50 billion a price to sales ratio of 10, which is pretty cheap. That's already 500 million market cap added to Nvidia. If you give it a price to sales ratio of 500 billion added in market cap to Nvidia just off that, if you give it a price to sales ratio of 10. Now if you give it a price to sales ratio of 20, depending on what the norm is for Nvidia, I mean, you can add a few hundred to close to maybe $1 trillion in market cap just from a Chinese deal, in my opinion. If you kind of give it those price to sales valuations, maybe you might give it something weaker, because usually the Chinese market you might give like a weaker valuation, but still I would say a nice 100 billion market cap added just from a Chinese deal. And then just the continued movement of AI innovation. I think as we're moving into the enterprise world, one of the things that we're seeing now right now is the enterprise market is waking up to AI. That's why Google decided to create a product with NVIDIA, their Server Pros. We also saw Dell also announce a lot of enterprise space um, because of just enterprise picking up in the AI market. Then you have all these sovereign AIs, and then you have future technology like autonomous robotics, drones, healthcare. Any of those health markets wake up really quickly, you can kind of give them a nice multiple $100 billion market cap, in my opinion.
yeah, plus maybe the market is also waiting to see the real impact of, I mean, losing China revenue, but getting the UAE, Saudi Arabia
Mhm.
dollars in. And I think like by the analyst at Piper Sandler talked about that for AMD, when we start to go past that China hit, right? Because currently we are getting hit each and every quarter because of the China issue, whether it's Nvidia or AMD, they're taking a hit. And yeah, maybe
Mhm.
Q4 is the quarter where we're going to see a clean quarter, let's say.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think once when you kind of saw the Chinese news impacted, um, the total TAM at that moment was about 25 billion, and I think Nvidia right off the news lost about 250 billion dollars. So it seems like the market at least gives it about a 10 plus 10x multiple on the Chinese space. So now that the Chinese market is actually even bigger, Martin, I think that even with the 10x, 10 to 15x multiple on that market alone, you're still getting a few $100 billion in market cap growth for Nvidia, which is insane to even think about. Um,
Yeah, no. I mean, what's insane is that ASTS is at all-time highs, I believe, here at, and it's up 85% since my video at the start of June. So you're all very welcome, the capital A
you never
guys.
sent me
And
a message. You never texted me and told me, Jose, we should go all in here. So I'm not thanking you, Neil. I'm
you
not thanking you.
should watch my videos.
Oh man.
But yeah, it's crazy. It's of course all based on future revenue that could come in billions and dollars for the company. So congrats to all the holders from the 20s, but especially those that bought under $3. You're up
That is wild.
quite significantly on this name. But just so you know, RSI right now is
Mhm.
extremely overbought on the daily. But okay,
Yeah.
it's been overbought for a week or so, and it keeps going up. So
Yeah.
just just so you know.
I have this question, Neil. It's a little too personalized, but maybe we can kind of share our own thoughts. So Martin here mentions he has 20% of his portfolio on AMD and would like to add more. His average cost price is 110. Would you add at these prices or wait for a correction that might never happen? Neil, obviously, I mean, how would you, how would the thing, Martin, first is everybody has different portfolio allocation preference, right? Somebody might say 20% is a lot already. Some people might say, hey, if you're a true believer, 20% is not enough. So I think for every investor, you need to find what's your perfect allocation and what's kind of like your sleep number, the number that if the stock goes down or up, you don't start, and both, right? Both, Neil, if it goes up or down, you don't start to get too emotional because sometimes if it's such a big position and that stock goes up dramatically, you start to get emotional and you might start to sell off too early. Similar, if it's too big and it starts to drop down, you might get a little scared and sell off. So first, I would say find what's the perfect allocation number for you in forms of portfolio sizing, and then go on from there. Personally, I think the semiconductor market gives us plenty of opportunities for massive buybacks. But if I wanted to add on, I would do very small dollar cost averaging at these price points. It's not, I wouldn't like load the boat. Also, I'm already happy with my position size, but I would do more of like very small dollar cost averaging. Just because we don't know when it's going to happen, but eventually the market gives us opportunity. You know what's one of my biggest fears right now for AMD, Neo, is the MI400 is going to be the first system that they're going to come out with, which is going to be a full server, a full kind of server design rack. Something they haven't done before. They don't know exactly how to work with the supply chain impact completely. They don't know how to maybe test everything out. They can easily ace it, but I think the probability of making a misstep is pretty high. And that small misstep, the market will see it as weakness and create massive buying opportunities for it. So I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I think the probability of some missteps is definitely a risk I would consider going the first out. I mean, NVIDIA, who's done it for a while, they've had plenty of missteps, and we've seen how the market punishes them dramatically. So that's just one of my fears of the MI400. It's not a reason to stay away from it, but I think it's a reason why I can get an opportunity later on to buy the stock.
And who knows? Maybe by then the stock was already at 150. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that's why they acquired ZT Systems, right? To make
Mm-hmm.
sure
Mm-hmm.
that they got the necessary expertise from the engineers at ZT Systems. But yeah, no, I echo what Jose has been saying. Look, if you have your average, of course, it's that we've talked about it, I think yesterday or a couple of days ago, right? Talking about, oh, you have a low cost basis and now you're afraid to average up because then your cost basis goes up.
Mm-hmm.
But it really, it's up to you whether or not you want to own more shares, right? If you
Mhm.
want to own more shares, if you think that the price is right, because if you're buying today, then your cost basis is probably what going to be 120 if you're buying at the same amount. Okay, it's going to be a bit higher, which means yes, if we go if we go back lower, then you might be in the red suddenly, but you'll still have way more shares. And if you believe that this company is worth hundreds of billions of dollars in the future, which by the way we're now back above $205 billion or so, if you think this is a half a trillion dollar company or maybe a trillion in 10 years, then who cares, right? As if you can accumulate more and more shares, then
Yeah.
yeah, the choice is there.
Yeah, and that's why I think portfolio allocation is the most important key, right? Because I personally am very bullish on AMD. I think you might be a little bit more bullish than me, Neil. I think this is definitely a $500 billion stock within the next few years. That's to me my base point. Um, so long term, I'm super bullish. Short term, I don't mind dollar cost averaging. And like you said, sometimes I do it because if I want to increase my position, who knows? Maybe the stock never gets back to this level. But small dollar cost average allows me to kind of not go all in at once.
Yeah, no, I think I'm not. I don't think I am more bullish than
Hmm.
you. I'm not saying this is a $1 trillion company right now, right? Because I've seen these statements being made by a lot of people, like, "Oh, AMD is the next 10x, 20x, or whatnot." I'm like, maybe chill out a little bit. Like to be a $2 trillion company, you'll need to have quite a lot more revenue and free cash flow each and every
Hmm.
quarter, and I think AMD is still far away from that, but it can reach it. But if this AI accelerator market is going to be worth $500 billion in 2028. If AMD can take 5%, 10%, that's 25 to $50 billion just from that segment.
Hmm.
That's quite a lot of revenue that they don't have right now, that they can have in the future. Plus, you add client, you have embedded, and all of that. You have all of that package. Yes, it can become a $500 billion plus company in the future, of course.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
trillions, for trillions, you will have to look probably past 2030,
Yeah.
maybe even sooner. I don't know, depending on them.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And the other thing
quick.
is the
Yeah.
market's evolve in general right now. The market is evolving, right? So obviously, right now we're just seeing data sensors, but what if this AI innovation really starts to take off on some of the other markets, and then that's also other growth opportunities for a lot of these semiconductors. So yeah, go ahead, Neil. Sorry, if I see you have a question here.
Yeah, so for those wondering, First Solar and Phase are down quite a lot right now pre-market. The reason is because the US Senate has released their version of the new tax bill, and tax bill energy credit provisions have changed. So wind and solar tax credits will begin a phase out in 2026 and will receive zero investment tax credits by 2028. Nuclear, hydropower, and geothermal will see tax credit extend to 2036. So that's why you're seeing Enphase back at $36 and First Solar back down to $142. If we look at Oklo is actually up a little bit back to $69 at the moment. Also, a pretty insane rally for Oklo, a company worth now, what is it, I'd say close to $10 billion, while right now, of course, not generating that much. So, yeah, that's the main reason why you have energy players like First Solar and Phase. I think even Sunrun is down big. Yeah, Sunrun is also back to $6, which is the same price we've seen
Oh wow.
when that first
Yeah.
bill, I think the bill passed the House. You've seen that huge drop. So we're back to that $6. And yeah,
Yeah. Neil, do you own any of these players, or really follow them outside of these kind of big events? I feel like Enphase has been a very popular stock all over the FinTwit
I'll show
community
you
and
why.
kind of the YouTube community for a while.
This is why.
Oh wow. Um,
This was once a $340 stock. It is now a $36 stock. Of course, back then, right here,
mhm.
the company was doing very well. Right, shipments of microinverters, all of that was doing very well. Free cash flow, still, by the way, free cash flow. Even here, the company was free cash flow positive. So all of that is fine. But interest rates being higher, means that people are not going to go towards Enphase and
So,
install huge installations because that's just going to cost them way too much money.
yeah,
And now, of course, with the incentives and the credits going
it's
away,
even gonna be more. Yeah.
it's going to be an issue for them.
Hmm.
That said, I've always said the same thing. I think having looking at 2027 leaps up call options
Hmm.
makes more sense than buying the stock right now
Stock. Yeah.
because it gives you like two years time. There are probably very cheap call options to buy right now. And again, this is a company that generates free cash flow, so
Hmm.
it can be a good option. I always
No,
said that I have my exposure towards the energy uh,
through
market
Tesla.
with Tesla. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Reading your mind, Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Yeah, I saw it was definitely pretty popular. I also, I mean, I haven't seen the deal, but I saw some quick tweets that um the new update of the bill is more of like a sudden depreciation of incentives. It's not like an ultimate cutoff. So some might say like that might provide some form of, again, I haven't read it, but it's I wonder how much the market is fearing things that might not be exactly what the market thinks it is.
Yeah, you will have like the phase out begins in 2026, and by 2028 you'll get zero investment tax credit. So you have basically 3 years time. Whether that is enough or not remains to be seen. I think interest rates are going to play a big role in uh, in all of that.
Yeah, agreed. Thanks for that, Neil. And I know we were talking a little bit about kind of portfolio allocation in the previous question, and we did get some cool comments here from other people watching. So I just wanted to share some of the thoughts here. Man, I just missed it, but so here we got Whitehawk. When you say small dollar cost average for AMD, are you suggesting one share per day or per week, etc.? Whitehawk. I mean, I think it all depends on your portfolio size, what you would consider small dollar cost average, right? For some people, 10,000 might seem like a big portfolio. For some people, 100,000 might seem like a big portfolio. For some people, $1 million might seem like a small portfolio. It's all about what works for you and your financial health and your financial style. So I think DCA. It's just what works for you. And then here we had David Knight. If you are long term in AMD, then add more in a year or two. People will be begging to buy AMD at 200, maybe even before that. Um, yeah, so a lot of great questions coming in. Appreciate everything. We'll see if we can take some a little bit more at others. Oh, catching a heater. I saw his question or their question earlier in the stream, and I forget to look at it. Jose Najarro stocks. Jose Najarro stocks. Any thoughts on GitLab at these levels? Took out some for 42.50 July 18 calls. So catching a heater. This is one that I'm adding into my portfolio even a little bit more. I'm dollar cost averaging a little bit down, Neil, on this one. I don't My cost basis wasn't that much higher than where the stock is right now. So it's not like I'm buying big boatloads, but I don't mind going a little higher. I think my cost basis was around 44, 45. So I'm buying here at the 41s, 42s. This to me though, Neo, is one of those stocks that I do believe, since it's a smaller player, could be a little bit more risky and volatile. But catching a heater, I'm bullish on this one. I call this one of the failed earnings, but I think bullishly it has a lot of long-term capabilities. So I'm liking it. In forms of calls, I'm not a huge fan of calls within the month time out, just because of all the volatility that could happen within this market right now. Those you might get $42.50 maybe July 27th. You might not get it July 18th. But these markets are pretty wonky. So normally for GitLab, especially if looking at such a short term, I'd rather do more of that share buyback. Not share, actual share ownership. I don't know if I would be too excited about options, but I'm not much of an option player. So if you have more experience with options, then obviously I'll do it for you.
Yeah, I mean GitLab is an interesting player. I think you explained it last week or maybe last week they reported earnings. I think so.
Yeah, I don't know if
Um,
it was last week or 2 weeks ago. All the days just mesh for me,
yeah,
Neil.
No, because we did look at it a little bit. We can look at it again here on FinChat, proud
Hmm.
partner of uh, of this channel. We also have a link for you guys. If you want to use it, you'll get 15% off. And if you're a new user, you can try it out 2 weeks for free. You get FinChat Pro. I'll show you something that I recently discovered on FinChat, which is pretty awesome. Of course, there is this AI overview feature, which
Hmm.
summarizes all of the transcript, whether it's earnings calls, analyst conferences, even keynotes like the one we've had from AMD. So clearly, when I read this, I see a company that is still growing very
Hmm.
fast. I mean, much faster than a lot of other tech companies, right? Revenue increasing 27% year over year, dollar-based net retention rate at 122%. Of course, as we've seen, and I'll show you again, it is coming down, but it's still above 120%, which is very, very good. Remaining performance obligations up 40% year over year. So, do you think this is basically just a stock that was maybe flying too high, price to perfection, and yeah, report was good, just too
Yeah.
expensive?
I think I don't know if the stock. I mean, it's such a small company that I always get wary of how valuation truly works for these big smaller players. Neil, I think to me the market was just a little bit fearful of some of the answers that came out through the Q&A session. One of the things was let's see if they even talk about it. Let's see. Go down a little bit. Let's see. Hmm. They didn't, but I usually sometimes I would go to a custom summary and just kind of say, "Hey, can you give me some of the bearish points that came out from this report?" And one of the things was GitLab talked a lot about, not a lot. They mentioned that their customers are testing out some of the trials, are testing out some of their competitors right now. So obviously you're having that. The other thing is you might have seen some macroeconomic points in other areas, so that could be pushing some form of things. And even though the company did report a nice 27% year over year growth, their revenue guidance for the full year still maintained. So pretty much what they mentioned there, they saw a good beat on quarterly, but they maintained the same full year guidance, which kind of tells you that maybe they're expecting a weaker second half or something like that. So I think it's just left with a lot of uncertainties of where the company can be in this short-term environment. But I do believe a lot of this short-term environment is being clouded by a lot of the uncertainties happening in the world right now.
Okay, no, fair enough. I mean, the AI summary and the custom summary is very good, especially if you follow the company and you know what questions to ask and you don't want to go
Hmm.
through the whole transcript. It is
Yeah.
pretty awesome. Now, one extra thing I recently discovered, I don't know if we have it for GitLab, but we definitely have it for Google, for example, and maybe we should talk a little bit about Google. So I recently discovered that we have a Morningstar reports.
Hmm.
So full Morningstar reports available on FinChat. Very indeed. I mean, 28 pages here. The reasoning behind why they're bullish, why they're bearish, how they reach a certain price target, and you get these updated reports here as well. And then, of course, if you don't want to read the whole thing here as well, you can get that AI summary. Um, I didn't know this existed on the
Oh, the
platform.
Morningstar report.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know the AI generated report is brand new. That one's coming out, and I know they're going to be coming out. I saw um, the team mentioned they're going to be releasing a lot of new stuff this year.
yeah.
Just this month, I think this month alone, they're going to be releasing a lot of new stuff. So pretty cool here. Um, Thanks, Neil. So
No, big announcements actually coming out
yeah. The other thing,
today.
it's such a simple thing, Neil, but like if you go to like the transcript of quarters, um, it's also nice to just being able to click the report and slides. Sometimes going like right on top of quarter 1, 2026, if you go to, you can go to reports, you can go to slides, and you can kind of see everything already. So it's like, all right, I don't have to go to investors website and look for anything. So simple things like that help with the overall investment thesis research process.
Yeah, no, very easy to use. And we're not just saying this because we
Yeah.
are partners. We're saying this because we use it. Um,
Yeah.
I use it daily. And now I do want to touch back on that dollar-based net retention rate. So it is pretty good. It's at
Hmm.
122% for GitLab, but of course it has been coming down. The question here
Hmm.
is it going to go even lower to 110, maybe even lower than that? Remains to be seen. But this should not like scare me. 122% is still very, very good. Very good.
I agree, Neil. I mean, those are some impressive. Even if you see the downturn, I mean, typically that happens, right? Neil, as you get more customers, as you start to acquire more, some of your numbers start to decrease a little bit, but you still want to be over that 100%. Um, 110, 100, even over 115 is something I would totally enjoy.
Yeah, and the market is, let's see what the market is expecting GitLab to do in the coming years. Probably still what 20, yeah, above 20%
Yeah,
year over year growth for revenue.
growth.
So still very fast growing company. But I think, I mean, PE, what is it right now? 53 times
Three.
forward.
Yeah,
But okay, EPS, yeah, maybe EPS is the issue here. Only
yeah.
12% forward 2 years. So it is expensive.
Mhm.
Probably why.
Yeah, and one of the other things, so yeah, this one you're gonna come in with this expensive stock, Neil, and then just the overall fears that you constantly gonna get with this market of right now, is AI gonna eat its moat? Um, and that's what we're seeing in a lot of software companies. I feel like that's why maybe some of the software players are becoming a little bit more attractive in my eyes, because the market is believing that AI is gonna eat the moat of a lot of these companies. Where I think it's more of like if you have a lot of data, if you have an innovative team, you're gonna be able to withhold your strength and make it a lot stronger than any competitor out there, especially with the vast amount of data that you might have. Neil, fashion designer or a male model and a YouTuber. He does it all. He does it all.
Zoolander 3 could do it. I mean, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind
Yeah.
a role in that movie.
Um, I have one here. Jose Fernandez went to share some thoughts regarding AMD. It's not about increasing your cost basis when you buy more. It's about choosing where the best growth opportunity is for your current cash. I agree, Jose Fernandez. That's a great way to look at it. You don't want to see it as like, I think you don't want to get cost basis blind. Sometimes we see, I had Nvidia in the single digits. If I buy now, it's going to bring me to the teens or something like that. It's more of like, I have 1,000, 10,000, $100 right now. Where do I see the better growth opportunities? Is my better growth opportunity in AMD still, or is it somewhere else? And I agree with that, Jose. Thank you for sharing that. Let's see, what else do we have?
I am running a poll and I asked, will the market end the day green, red, or flat? Currently, we have 49% say green, 27% red, and 24% say flat. Quite a lot of confidence, quite a lot of confidence from the chat today.
Did you not do it yesterday too?
Yep. And
Were they right?
yesterday,
I think they were right.
were they right or did they say red?
Oh, never mind.
I can't. I mean, we can check
We can
back.
rewatch later,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
yeah.
We can check back. Question here about retail stocks such as LVMH or Lululemon. Do you think they are trading at value prices and are good deals in current market? I know Lulu took a hit recently. Yeah, after the earnings. I mean, the stock even after the earnings took a beating. So we're now back to prices not seen since the April market sell-off. Is this going
Mhm.
to be the bottom? I mean, seems like it likes to rebound around those areas. But if I were to choose one, I'd probably go with the luxury behemoth LVMH, although that one has also lost quite a lot of value. Um, if you really want luxury, you will have to go with these guys right here, Hermes. These guys are probably the best exposure to luxury retail out there. Yes, it's also down from their peak, but margin wise, they're much better than LVMH. And strength wise, as you can see, they are not down as much as the others because the product that they sell doesn't really matter much whether we are in a bull or bear market. People that spend a couple of $1,000 on bags will still spend a couple of $1,000 on bags when when the market is red. So if you really want retail exposure, luxury retail, I guess you should start with them. Then I'd say LVMH, and then maybe you should check Lululemon, even yeah, Nike maybe for the turnaround story. Although if you want to get exposure to shoes, they are doing better than Nike on holdings, growing much faster as well. So there is that. I think my personal model sponsor is Abercrombie and Fitch. They're also doing better, although the stock is down. It did rise quite a lot after earnings, but that did not last long. It was actually back at $100, which is crazy, and now we're back under 80. So there are definitely some options out there if you really want. But I think currently, with the situation in the market, maybe macro as well, I wouldn't really go to retail just yet.
Do you ever go much into retail, Neil, even if it wasn't due to macro? Like more, obviously, maybe like your PayPal. I think it's obviously something that can benefit dramatically from the
Spending.
retail space. Yeah. But do you go directly into some of like these clothing, shoes, and actual consumer non-tech goods a lot, Neil?
Not for the long term, I don't think so. I think it's more like, oh, if I see like a short term disconnect, maybe like an elf, right? Elf basically doubled since the bottom. I didn't go with it, but if I would, it's probably going to be for that reason. The stock crashed 60% or whatnot, yet the business is still growing, and maybe there is that disconnect, and then you flip it and you move on. But I don't, no, I won't go. Although I did own Abercrombie a couple of years ago, doubled, could have made much more, but this is not something that I would start to add to the portfolio and follow, since my portfolio is very much tech fintech based, and I'd probably keep it at that. Although there's always the option of adding this disconnect, right? We talked about this more recently because the stock is down so much. United Health might be also a good short-term play, but not something I would like put in my portfolio and not watch again for years and years. Although maybe that could be the good plan to get more diversified portfolio. But yeah, it's not an industry that is that interesting. Plus, there is a lot of politics and whatnot involved, so you'll have to follow that as well. I think there was an announcement even yesterday with regards to Medicare or Medicaid or whatnot, and some of these stocks did take a hit a little bit. And then you have another smaller player such as Oscar Health, which is up, I think, another 7% or so pre-market, which is doing better. This is actually a very interesting stock that might be very undervalued and could be such a multi-bagger stock for the future. But I'll have to dive in a little bit deeper because your insurance and health system in the US is quite complex.
Yeah, this one has become very popular. It seems in the fintech community as well. Not one that I follow too much either.
Yeah, you have here. You
Message
have
for you.
Yeah, but it's your super chat.
Yep, I have a message for you, Neil. Are you confident in the ASTS biz model?
Are we splitting the $1.99 or are you?
It depends, Neil, how nice you are.
Am I confident in the ASTS business model? Well, am I confident? I think so. I think they are doing the right thing, making sure that they have plenty of partners, not just partners, but also strategic investors. So the incentive is there for them to make sure, like, for example, Alphabet, by the way, Jose, both of us are indirect investors in ASTS as of last quarter, I believe. Because
I'm very bullish in their biz model. Man. Very bullish.
Because Alphabet did invest in them. So yeah, I think, of course, they rely on the SpaceX, Blue Origin, and ISRO, I think, the Indian space program to launch their satellites into space. So they don't have their own rocket, which is fine, which makes their business higher margin businesses. But yeah, until they actually launch a full service in the United States that covers, let's say, multiple states, it's always going to be a show me story, right? Until we actually get the hundreds of millions, maybe $1 billion in revenue, it's always going to be like, okay, great, you're promising us this and that, but we want to see that first full year of an operational business model. So far, it's been announcements after announcements, which is always great. They deliver some demos as well. And now, yeah, it's up to them to
Yeah.
actually show us, because it is a company that is worth $13 billion at the moment. $13 billion for not much revenue means that you are paying for a lot of future execution, and it's worth more than Rocket Lab at the moment.
Thank you for that, Neo. We also had a few questions here, Neo, again on here we can see from what happened with Enphase.
What's his name?
What happened with Enphase? We talked about it. Well, you talked about it, Neil, and earlier on. Can you just give a quick recap of what's happening here? We got on a few questions here.
Yeah, so there is no sun anymore, so solar is gone. The business model doesn't work. No, just kidding. It's basically the U.S. Senate released their version of the new tax bill, and so wind and solar credits will be phased out in 2020. Well, begins phasing out in 2026, and they will receive zero investment tax credit by 2028, and that's why Enphase, First Solar, Solar Edge, Run, Sunrun, all of them are down.
Yep. Let's see what other. We had a few other questions. We have here 1,600 shares of AMD. Nice. And then wondering where Top Cat is. Top Cat was a little bit negative on AMD in the past, it seems. We also have Catching a Heater, Jose. Last one for me. Do either of you have preference for nuclear energy stocks to own? I've been looking into NE and GEV. To be honest, Catching a Heater, I haven't really looked much into nuclear energy stocks at the moment or any form of energy markets. The main reason for me is I do believe a lot of these stocks are going to move with just the overall AI space. I mean, we did see a lot happening with the when DeepSeek kind of occurred, that you saw not only AI chip stocks go down, you saw AI infrastructure, you saw ones that were bullish in AI data center buildouts and AI energy. So obviously, there's going to be some winners here that are going to completely outperform the AI space. But I think in general, most of these are going to move very similar to the AI market. So for me, since I'm already very heavily AI exposed, I think going into a nuclear energy stock or going into kind of like some of these AI energy players, I'm just increasing my AI exposure even more. And maybe I feel like right now I don't want to do it too much in forms of like actual infrastructure play. I would rather do it more in the way where AI is enabling a new solution, like in the software space or in some of these other businesses as well. So I'm not looking at it, and for that reason, I don't have much to say about either or. Neil, have you been looking at any of these nuclear energy or even energy stocks in general?
Other than the energy stocks that we've just discussed, no. I mean, I have your Oklo on the watch list. Maybe we can pull up actually. What is it? SMR? Yeah. But no, other than knowing their ticker symbol, because they have been popping up on my feed just because the stock is up quite a lot, not because they suddenly are generating hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue, because they're not, right? The only reason people are talking about them is because the stock is up significantly, and we have a lot of, let's say, PR releases.
Hmm.
We know that nuclear is becoming a topic more and more. Even like the announcement right from yesterday, nuclear, hydropower, and geothermal will see tax credit extended to 2036. So that's great, but of course you need more permits to build those things or reactivate them, and those things will probably still take a lot of time, because this is not about building a house. You
Mhm.
want to build a small nuclear reactor, a modular reactor in this case. It's going to take a while.
Yeah, and the also other I would say point that maybe to kind of argument my argument is I'm pretty sure a lot of these nuclear energies are also going to be used for um, other things outside of data centers, right? I'm pretty sure we're going to need massive power for other types of solution or whatever follows the AI market. So, but regardless, at least for now, not a market I'm too interested in, but not for any bearish reasons. It's more just to I already have that exposure. I don't think sometimes it seems like I might be diversifying out of it by going into the energy, but I think I'm still within that AI exposure.
Yeah, and a quick update from yesterday, because yesterday we talked about that Amazon and Roku announcement, which pre-market led to the trade desk falling, but the trade desk yesterday did close the day above $70. Pre-market were a bit below, but yesterday it was a green candle
Hmm.
for the trade desk. There is that gap here from the earnings report, which means that if it wants to fill it, it will have to fall to around $60 or so. I'm not saying it will, but it does not seem that pretty at the moment. It
Yeah.
is under the 20 and the 50-day moving average. So who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
Because tomorrow there is that Fed meeting, um, which will tell us more about the rate cuts happening later this year and in the next couple of years as well.
Yeah. Here we have a comment. Achilles, stay away from Navitas. I think that's I forget. I think that's Navitas and VTS.
Yeah, yeah.
Just look at what happened to Wolf. I would say just Achilles, just be careful comparing the two. Wolf was definitely one that was overextended in debt. They were trying to massively build up a lot of fabs in the United States, and they were hoping that the AI, not the AI, the silicon carbide market, I think it
Automotive
was,
also, yeah.
yeah, would eventually turn around pretty quickly, where they would be able to see some massive growth in those fabs, and be able to pay back a lot of the things. Unfortunately, their timing was not perfect, so they have a lot of debt and in the market that's still pretty weak. So their hopes was to build these fabs during this bad cycle, and eventually the bad cycle would be a good cycle when everything was up and running. But it did not play out like that for them. So I would say I'm not a fan of Navitas at the moment, Neil, but I wouldn't compare it to a Wolf. I think it's a very unique thing that happened to Wolf in general, and they were kind of really playing in the manufacturing space, which within the power and kind of this kind of market is even a little bit more of a commodity than the actual chips themselves. So I think Wolf was just not one I enjoyed.
No, fair enough. Fair enough. The markets will open in 18 minutes.
18 minutes. Neil, do you want to tell 1, 2, 3 Kobe this or no?
Tell me that Nebius is going to 100 this year. I just told you Nebius is going to. I truly hope it goes back to 20 before it goes to 100, though, so we can have another 5x. But yeah, Nebius is holding the $50 quite strong
You know,
recently.
Neil, if this one drops down, I might become a shareholder of this one.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
So you let me know when it drops, all right? You send me I'm setting up my Neil alert right now, all right? Setting up my
If it
Neil alert.
if it
Once you
goes to
start buying,
40, I'll let you know. If it goes to 40, I'll let you know. It does seem like a nice cup, maybe a handle forming here. Technical black magic stuff. Um, $40 is also where the 200-day moving average is sitting at right now. So could be. I mean, to more. There are plenty of stocks that have similar patterns at the moment, and a macro event such as a Fed meeting tomorrow could trigger a certain correction, a certain sell-off. Not saying it's going to happen, because the exact opposite can happen as well, right? If we have a
Neil just said
positive
tomorrow's a bearish day. That's what I got from this
headline, Wall Street Journal,
headline.
Bloomberg, everywhere, couch investor, unknown guy from YouTube, man,
Just
manipulating the markets. Um, but yeah, no, I'm not seeing it. I hope it goes to 20. So if it goes to 100, it's a 5x. I'll be happy with 45. I'd be happy with 40.
oh, sorry. Yeah, and this is all right, Neil. We've all registered for the alert. All right.
I need to start a service. I need to start a service.
Crawling Puncture wants to know, anyone watching Marvel event today? I don't know if I'm gonna watch it live. Crawling. I'll probably be if anything, I might just have my Bluetooth on and just listen to the event while I'm doing some house stuff. But I am gonna watch it today. Maybe just not live. I'm pretty excited about this. What is Marvel up or down right now, Neil? This is another one I want to.
Flat.
No pre-market movement. Nah, down 0.4, nothing.
I just show you on the screen. It's flat. It's at 70.
Yeah, but I wanted the actual number, so I had to go to Google.
Exactly. Google search is up, queries are up. Thank you very
Because
much.
of me. See, I have to add more to that alphabet. Every
Exactly. I don't. This is the issue, right? Marvel
Mhm.
Trinium 3 and 4 hopefully showcased today. Wasn't the. I mean, isn't this because the stock
My
isn't
pet
is
peeve.
down?
Oh,
No,
yeah,
because
yeah,
training
yeah,
is from Amazon, no?
yeah. So I mean, that's the thing, right? I mean, we don't know exactly who's winning Tranium 3. Um, and this is the thing I hate. Like I mentioned, it's like they're never gonna tell us if they have it. Um, they could say that the customer we're ramping up right now, we're going to continue to ramp to the next generation. And if they say that, then we can probably bring it back to Amazon. But MacDux, one thing is we barely get to see the actual product itself. So we have to listen pretty closely to understand if they want the next generation of Tranium 3 and 4. They have a 5-year contract, McDucks, but I thought it was more just in general with just like the Tranium 2 that they're going to continue. And it also involves other networking solutions because there are, right, there's other networking solutions. I thought, what's the one coming out right now? They are already producing. Is the Tranium 3 the one they're producing? Okay, if there's the 3, yeah, the 3 one is from Marvell. Then it's the 4 that's going to be, there are reports that MediaTek might be winning it. Let me see if I can pull up this cool chart that I love to follow. Let's see, but they don't really share too much. MediaTek ASIC. Let's see if we can get a cool chart happening.
Yeah, so the reports that I'm seeing here is that they might lose the next generations of Amazon Trinium. So I don't know which number that will be. And we have a good morning from Francisco. Good morning
Good
to
morning,
you as
Francisco.
well. Joseph saying, you aren't unknown. There are dozens of us who have heard of you. I'll take dozens, hopefully
Oh yeah.
thousands.
You think there's thousands? I mean, we got, yeah. I mean, based on our subscriber counts.
Yeah, based on the subscriber count, I hope it's not 90% bots. um, Mars Association with Amazon Trinium 3 and 4 accelerators is clouding upside for 2026, 2028. So,
Yeah. So Tranium 3 is the one that
yeah, 3 and 4 I'm seeing here. Yeah.
yeah set to launch AWS Tranium 3 Marvell. So it's gonna be, has to be number 4 then.
I mean, there are definitely reasons because otherwise a stock like this doesn't fall that much, although it was
Yeah,
very
Marvell slumps
expensive.
nearly 50% as Tranium rumor spook investors. But I mean, I feel like this stock, even if they don't, despite these advances, yeah. So it's for Tranium 4, it seems then, because Tranium 3, yeah, Tranium 3 is still with Marvell, and that's the one that's ramping up and should be released pretty soon for late 2025.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess they'll have to talk about it today.
I
If
mean,
they do,
it's always a question, it always is. And management always kind of just gives you the breakdown. They say, look, we have a great partnership with Amazon. Um, we have a multi-year contract with them. We're ramping up the current generation. But in the last earnings call, they did mention the following. It is not unheard of that customers go and work with multiple players to design AI chips. So they did kind of confirm. That wasn't an exact quote to quote, but that was pretty much what they were saying. So they did finally confirm that it's not impossible for them to be losing out.
yeah, but I mean, I guess when you have such an event right now, you better
Yeah,
actually tell us something.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we'll see. We'll see. Francisco asks, how's your Celsius? My Celsius actually break even right now. Break even. I know it got some positive commentary from analysts. Since the start of the year, this thing has actually doubled. So
Yeah, nice.
not bad. Currently, I'm still keeping my position, although might
Yeah.
might just take the cash, but we'll see. We'll see. 10 minutes until the market opens. Currently, we have in the poll 48% say we end the market green, then 28 red, and 24 flat. So not much has changed there. I will, of course, close it when we open, so there's no manipulation of voting. Applied digital. Applied digital is something we did cover a little bit, especially after the big announcement, but we were both
Hmm.
surprised that it did not continue its run like the other
Yeah.
NVIDIA backed players. Let's say we're back to $11 now, which, I mean, does it, when would it become very interesting for you?
I don't know, Neil. I mean, I this is one I don't know. I wouldn't mind looking more into this one, Neil, because I mean that massive deal with CoreWeave is taking up their whole new data sensors, which is very very good. Um, I have to maybe understand more of how many other data centers they're building in other places and what their capacity is looking in those other places. And what do they have in store for next process? What is their next plan after these? So I think learning more about what's their overall data center build out looking like um, is something I would be more interested in before making a decision. But at the end of the day, this is more like just a renting company, right? They just build the infrastructure, and then companies like CoreWeave or whoever come and bring their chips and set up the servers. So they're just kind of leasing the land, the and all the infrastructure that they help build out. So
Okay.
not, I wouldn't call it this true NBI Nebius or CoreWeave competitor. Um, Even though you didn't ask about CoreWeave, it's I just wanted to include that there.
Of
Um,
course.
this is more of just ones that they build these AI data center infrastructure. They build like the massive warehouses. They get the land, right? They get the land. They make sure the power's there. They make sure it's great for cooling. They make sure it's able to withstand X amount of power, megawatts, gigawatts, whatever. So it's not a competitor. I think they both could work really well with each other.
Yeah, I mean, look, if before the stock rose, it was around $7, $8 or so. If it goes back around those prices, I think it might be a good swing trade because they are getting, what was it for? What did I say? 400 and something $1 million each
Hmm.
year
Each year for yeah.
from the deal that was announced. So if we go back below, let's say $2 billion in market cap, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense purely because of that disconnect. We do have,
Add that to the alert. Add that to the alert. Thanks.
yeah, that's
All
another
right. Thanks.
$5. We do have some macro data that came out. Industrial production falls 0.2%, so a bit worse than what the market was. The market, yeah, consensus numbers, I'd say. U.S. short-term interest rate future trim earlier gains after retail sales data. Traders stick to September rate cut view. Didn't we see yesterday that the probability for a July rate cut was actually higher? Um, okay, I guess we'll know way more information tomorrow. Retail sales fall, yeah, a bit more, 4.9%, ex auto 0.3% month over month. So, okay, what did the market do after these very important numbers came out that will definitely affect each and every company that we own in our portfolio? And that's the reason why you should sell. The market, the market didn't really move much. It's still down 0.5%. Dow Jones, S&P,
Well, that's because
Nasdaq.
you were bearish. Remember, the market is reacting to your news.
Was I bearish or was I bullish?
No, you remember you said tomorrow
Ah,
something.
for
We
tomorrow. For tomorrow,
yeah.
yes.
So that's
But
what the
that's
market is already expecting.
but that's tomorrow. Today is today. Tomorrow is tomorrow. What is it? Yesterday is the past. Tomorrow is the whatever. The future.
Tomorrow's
Today
a
is
gift, and that's why
the
today is
no
called
no.
or whatever.
Today is the present, and that's why it's a gift.
Nailed it, nailed it. That's exactly how it went. Um,
Uh, Another
uh,
T-shirt.
David Knight, do you guys think it's funny when people say things like it's only 11 a.m. in tech revolution if technology is going to just stop in 5 or 10 years? If anything, we'll need more and more chips. I agree, David. I mean, I think it's 11 o'clock on a like a infinity hour clock. Um, just because we need to keep innovating.
Is that also saying it's 11 o'clock?
Well, they say it's like I forget what's the saying. Some analyst goes, it's like it's the start of the party. It's like 9 o'clock of a party that
It's like the
doesn't
second
finish.
inning or whatever.
Yeah, or something like that, right? The overall point, Neil, that David was trying to make is that people are putting a finite end to something that, in theory, should be an infinite gain forever.
Aha. Aha. I see. Maybe
Gosh, Neil, do I have to explain it all? And AMD is dumping again,
it's a
based on
quarter.
Manuel. Is it down?
Is it down?
Because it was up 2%, going from 2% to being flat.
It's still up 1.4% at the moment.
Let me just Google it
But
to give us our little search query. AMD stock up 1.3%.
yeah, you see, we mentioned AMD again, and oops, who pops up? Ariel pops up. Good morning. Good morning, Ariel. How are you today? I know he. I think he also owns AMD, by the way. Just because we have a bet, but he also owns AMD. So $128 at the moment pre-market. AMD goes to 110. Why not zero?
110. Send me that alert. All right. I don't know if you've been watching. Send me that alert area when it goes to a 10. I want that alert too. Let me know.
No says margins. It's a
Mhm.
Inspector Gadget picture. Margins will drop though. Margins of what?
I think he meant of tech.
Of
Come
tech?
on, Neo. Get with the program. As we get later into this infinite clock,
But
margins will drop on
margins
tech.
on tech, why would it? Isn't the pattern that margins have expanded over the last 10 years plus?
Yeah, as long as there's innovation, right? I think that's the question. As long as there's innovation in the space and you're still producing something that's much better. Um,
I mean, even this piece of expensive junk, Apple has expanded margins over the last couple of years.
all right, let's see. Yeah, we got Aereo holding 250 shares. Nice, nice, nice. Another one. Manel, thoughts on Enphase? Look at solar stocks. I,
Yes,
I
we
I don't think
did.
we've talked about this.
It's like the Marvel story from 2 weeks ago when you talked about Marvel 5,000 times.
Jeez, tell me how you really feel. Um,
Uh, so yeah, Enphase is down. All of the solar stocks are down because they're going to lose the credits. It's going to be phased out until by 2028, starting next year.
all right, thank you for that update. First time hearing it. Um, but for buying monthly ETFs, would you recommend Nasdaq or something like World UCITS? I don't know what World UCITS are. I'd normally focus on a semiconductor ETF or a tech ETF. I mean, I think Nasdaq would probably be one of my safer approach if like a family member was ever to ask Neil. For me personally, I would go with like a semiconductor, but Nasdaq is also Nasdaq over the S&P 500 any day of the week.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Look at this nice comment. Look at this. That's why more. That's why more people like Neil are needed in the investing community. Europeans are more down to earth compared to get rich next week, US style. Huh, exactly. I agree. I agree.
Mhm.
You guys are in the green year to date. I think we are. Yes, both of
Yeah.
us are in the green this year so far. So far.
Don't jinx it, Max. All right.
That was not the case at the start of April, though. That was not the case. And with that, the market is open, so it's time to do the little refresh, and poof! Oh my God, a little bit of red, a little
We
bit
got
of
to
red.
reach the network there, 3%. ENET next to
Yeah,
AMD.
AMD still
Let's see.
green, not by much, but still green, 1.2%.
Yeah.
Oh wait, let me see my poll. Okay, still 48% say green. Okay, so
All right, let
not
me pull
much.
up my trading stuff. What is Dell up? What did Dell do?
Dell is up
Nope, no, it's not.
3.8. Oh,
That's old
it's from
news.
yesterday.
Yeah, that's old news.
No, Dell is down.
Yeah, Dell is down. Let's see. Navitas is down
Point.
3%. Tempest AI is down about 3%. Reddit is up 10%. I don't know what Reddit's doing. Reddit is up 10% right now. It's
I
climbing.
I covered this 2 days ago, and look at what happens.
You
Man, I'm
know,
so
we
good.
talked about
I'm
Reddit.
so good.
We talked about Reddit in this live stream before, too.
Uh,
Um,
yeah, T-Mobile is down 3.8% because I've seen that SoftBank has sold a big block um, during the night, I think. Not that it's interesting for us, but okay.
yeah, definitely not. I mean, get back. That's old school news. Don't bring that boring stuff here, Neil.
Um, yeah, AMD holding up on those Amazon rumors pretty well, pretty well. Let's see what else. Most of the things are red. Most of the things are red. Oklo is up 5.2% at the moment.
Yeah, nothing too red though, right? I don't see.
No, nothing is like down 5-10% or so. Yeah, Reddit is having a blast here, 7.7%.
I wonder if they won anything with Google, because right, that was something that was happening. They were suing Google or something.
Um, they were suing Google, or they wanted to license stuff
No, so
or
Google
not.
wanted to license them. Google was licensing their stuff for some money, but I thought they were. Was it Reddit or maybe it was some? Never mind, that was Check maybe.
No lo sé, no lo sé.
Yeah, June Reddit sues Google's back Anthropic. Oh, Anthropic. Never mind. People, yeah, gotta read more
Uh,
than the first three letters
I'm seeing
words.
here Reddit launched 2 new AI-powered advertising features, 8 and blah blah blah. Okay, I don't know which brand wants to advertise on Reddit, but okay. No,
I actually
nothing.
did do a Reddit video just a day ago,
Huh.
and I talked about their advertisement, and they actually have this new solution where it's safe branding. Um,
Meaning you're not going to be popping up on some weird ass Reddit thread.
yeah, exactly. You're not gonna show up in.
The tinfoil hat Reddit thread, and suddenly you have like a baby's product ad next to it.
um, let's see.
Yeah, so things are turning red now a bit more.
Thank you, Neil. Thank you, Neil. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. You're welcome.
Remember,
Tempest
we
is
have the
down.
alerts. The whole chat here has alerts on you for what do we have alerts from you?
You have
Nebius,
Nebius at 40. You have Applied Digital at $7-8. AMD for Ariel at $110.
110. Yeah,
Um,
I think that's plenty.
yeah, I mean things are down, but they're not really moving much, right? Nebius is down 2.5%, but we're still at 49.20. So basically at the same prices we've been for the last week or so. Let's see. Quick summary before we close out the show for the day. As you can see,
Jose's awesome. Thanks, Neil.
who said that?
You did. That was the summary of the episode.
I don't know. You're hearing Ghost, my friend.
What's
Lisa
going on, Lisa? So appreciate you coming in.
in the
Um,
house. For Lisa, we have to pull up AMD, and that's why we are still green today. So thank you very much for that. Um,
are we still green?
yeah, 1%, a bit less now. Yeah, Reddit with the big candle here, the big candle. I mean, my technical analysis is not bad. I had this thing drawn and it really rebounded s- pretty
Send me
good.
an alert. Send me an alert.
This is getting irritating. This technical analysis stuff. You have to go up on fundamentals, my friends. You have to go up on fundamentals.
Neil,
What
stop
else?
having an ad blocker for us, Google. I see you have an ad blocker. It keeps popping up.
I
That
don't.
means we're not getting paid. All right.
No, it's not for Google. But it's very strange because I did say it's allowed to have. It's this website is allowed, and yet it always pops up. I don't know.
Hello from Hot England. Hello from Hot England.
Who's hot? Man's not hot. But yeah, the market is fine. That is the only stocks that are down a little bit are the ones that have been going up 100 and something for the last couple of weeks. So a small little correzione didn't hurt anyone.
Nvidia's green.
Actually, it's gray.
It's green. It's pointing up, up. There's only green, red, or nothing.
SLV. Do you know SLV? What is
I
that?
would guess silver. I mean, but let's
Ah,
just
yes,
act like we
iShares
know our
Silver.
stuff around here. All right, Neil. Let's act like we know our stuff around here. Okay. Don't be embarrassing.
Silver, of course. I share Silver Trust. What do you mean? I share Silver Trust. Maybe I should start selling my silver. Um, Norm. Ah,
It got pretty sad in chat real quick. I just don't know how to
yeah.
respond to sadness.
Me neither. The new norm. Lol. Any hoot, I think we can end the stream on a good note. The good thing is that we will be
What's the
back
good thing?
tomorrow.
All right.
So the good thing is that we will be back tomorrow. We will be back tomorrow, and tomorrow is Wednesday. Wednesday, big day. Jose said that I said that the market is going to crash on Wednesday because of Jerome Powell. You
Is that what I
guys,
said?
yes, you said that.
Okay.
You guys say that we are going to end the day green. 49% said green, 28% said red. Right now, I can tell you that the markets are
Thank you. Thank you for the
actually
best wishes.
red. The markets
Right.
are red. So 50% of you might be completely wrong by the by the end of this day. But hopefully I will be wrong tomorrow.
So where's the good note? I still don't know where the good note is.
I told you the good note is that we're back tomorrow, 8 a.m.
But you said
Eastern.
we're ending with the good note, but then you went on a little tantrum and said we were gonna be bread. So I just don't know, Neil. I don't know anymore.
You know what? The good note is that Micron is up 1.7%. With that said,
Yeah.
we're out for the day. We're going to touch grass, real or fake, doesn't matter. We are back tomorrow, 8 a.m., or on our channels later today when we are going to talk about, I don't know what, whatever stocks today. So thank you all for joining. Do check out FinChat down below. Might be called something else in the next couple of hours.
Who knows?
Who knows? No lo sé. So see you all tomorrow. Thank you all for joining. And now we can go out with our special breakfast show outro. Although I still need to add some music. It's for tomorrow. It's freaking amateurs.